will not divide us!
In this video, we'll look at the most hated actors of 2023 so far. Jada Pinkett Smith. Remember when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars, creating a huge public scandal that dominated the media for weeks on end?
Oh, wow! Wow!
Most people lay the blame at Will for getting angry, but there's more to the story than the average person would expect. Jada Smith is Will Smith's wife, and she got very offended by Chris Rock's G.I. Jane joke at the Oscars. While it's understandable to be upset about suffering from alopecia, a hair loss condition that caused her to change her look for a while, most normal people would have moved on from a single joke from a comedian in a public event. Instead, Jada looked over at her husband Will with a stern face, as if he should do something about the joke. Although Will had initially laughed at the joke, he decided to keep his wife happy by going on stage and slapping Chris in the face. There's no doubt that this is what Jada wanted, but why would she support this kind of behavior? The truth about the relationship between these two isn't pretty, but it might just explain why she acted this way at the Oscars. Jada Smith rose to fame in the 1990s with shows like Set It Off and Menace to Society, while running a fashion company called Maja at the same time. In spite of her many projects, Jada also found time to become close friends with celebrity rapper Tupac, even helping him make bail with her own money. On top of that, Jada became romantically involved with Will Smith near the end of the 90s, with the two getting married on the last day of December 1997. At the time, Jada was adamant that nothing could come between them and upset their marriage, claiming, "I will throw away my career before I let it break up our marriage." Unfortunately, things would soon go south for the two of them and their relationship. In 2013, Jada Smith made comments that had many people surprised because it seemed to be suggesting their marriage was a lot more open than usual. "You can do whatever you want," Jada claimed to have told Will, "as long as you can look at yourself in the mirror and be okay." This was construed as an admission that the two were sleeping with other people, but both Will and Jada vehemently denied that claim. As it would soon turn out, there was more validity to it than anyone could have possibly expected. In June 2020, a rapper known as August Alsina came forward with allegations that Jada had been having an affair with him, which she strongly denied at first. However, as the evidence grew, she eventually admitted to that affair, and in 2021, Will would even claim that his marriage to Jada was not conventional. Cheating on your husband and lying about it to the press will obviously make you unpopular, but there's a lot more Jada has done to earn her strong dislike from the public. One post brought up Jada's mistreatment of Will in the past, saying, "I saw in an interview that Will said he spent 3 whole years and hired an entire team to help coordinate Jada's surprise 40th birthday. After 3 whole years of planning, he unveiled his surprise, and Jada said that the party was a ridiculous display of Will's ego." Can you imagine spending 3 years planning a birthday party for her wife, only for her to badmouth it on the same day? I don't know about you, but I'd definitely be headed for the door. The post continued, not to mention she openly admits to cheating on him and how she never wanted to marry him and was forced to marry him. This is a pretty ridiculous thing to say. Smith might get the bad publicity, but Jada's narcissistic actions haven't made her any more friends or fans in Hollywood. If you think Jada is loathed, stick around to see the actor come royal hated for being a privileged person who plays the victim. Ellen DeGeneres. Sometimes people become hated because of a major scandal or getting arrested for a serious crime. In the case of Ellen DeGeneres, the cause for her unpopularity is just being plain rude. For years, people on the Ellen DeGeneres show put up with their host being unprofessional and combative, and it all came to a head in 2020. It was at that time that numerous allegations of a toxic and even racially insensitive work environment were unveiled. On top of all that, people claimed Ellen would fly off the handle and yell at employees when the cameras weren't rolling. Naturally, this was bad news for Ellen, but she was also quite controversial for things she did while the cameras were rolling. On top of the workplace allegations, Ellen took some actions that were mightily unpopular with viewers of her show. For example, she would often act condescending or downright mean in interviews, as well as acting in an inauthentic or potentially out-of-touch way. During a 2015 interview with Dakota Johnson, the actress mentioned how she hadn't been invited to a party by the show's host. Rather than apologizing or asking more questions, Ellen instantly retorted that she did invite Dakota and that the actress had not come to the party. Not only was this not true, but the way she said it came across as rude and even a little condescending. Maybe don't talk to your guests that way. Still, that incident doesn't come close to what Ellen did to Mariah Carey. In 2008, the famous celebrity singer was dealing with rumors that she was pregnant, and Ellen decided that she would get to the bottom of it on live television. When Ellen asked Mariah if she was pregnant, however, the celebrity said that she didn't want to discuss the topic. Most actors would have dropped the subject right then and there, but Ellen decided to go for the nuclear option and offered Mariah a glass of champagne in front of a live TV audience.
No. Let's toast to you not being pregnant. If you're not pregnant, then we should.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe that.
Mariah couldn't drink while pregnant and was forced to reveal that she was expecting a baby to an audience, even though she had wanted to keep the whole thing to herself. Even worse, Mariah would miscarry not long after the ill-fated interview. Sometimes you shouldn't pry into other people's private lives, Ellen, and especially not in front of a live TV audience. On top of her interview misadventures, Ellen also caught a lot of flack for her statements in 2020 about the widespread pandemic. She posted an infamous tweet on social media claiming that being on lockdown during the pandemic was being like locked in prison. Not only was this hilariously out of touch, seeing as Ellen lived in a multi-million-dollar mansion with internet and all the luxuries a person could possibly want, but it was also an insult to people who were actually locked in jail. With behavior as out of touch and elitist as that, is it any wonder many people have begun to dislike Ellen DeGeneres? Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla and current owner of Twitter, has done a lot to court controversy, even though his core fan base remains staunchly in support of the tech entrepreneur and his business decisions. One superfan says he's a genius, but he's an idiot as well, referring to Elon's ability to make multi-billion-dollar innovations while angering people with controversial Twitter posts and interview comments at the same time. Elon's skepticism for recent medical treatments for a very famous pandemic have been widely condemned, as well as numerous dalliances with women both inside and outside his marriage, and even inside his workplace. Elon was accused of having an affair with Amber Heard in 2017, as well as fathering twins in July of 2022 with an employee at his company Neuralink, even though he was in a relationship with another woman at the time. His actions with women, on top of Tesla's controversies, have led to the eccentric billionaire being the defendant in 24 different lawsuits. They also resulted in a legal scuffle with a flight attendant in May of 2022, which ended with Elon paying $250,000 for her silence and claiming that reports of the incident were politically motivated hit pieces. Many in the public seem to disagree, however, as can be seen when Elon came onto stage of Dave Chappelle's show and was met with minutes of booing by the crowd.
Cheers and boos, I say.
On top of everything already mentioned, Elon also garnered unpopularity for his statements about his daughter, who had transitioned and had no longer wished to be identified as a boy. Her father didn't take the news well and claimed that it was the result of educational propaganda, which didn't help Elon's public image or relationship with his daughter. As of 2022, she had chosen to change her last name from Musk to Wilson in order to distance herself from her dad. Elon might be receiving many awards for his brilliant inventions and developments, but Father of the Year certainly won't be one of them. Amy Schumer. Don't think you have to be a criminal to wind up on this list. This actress managed to do just that without ever doing anything illegal. Amy Schumer's rise to fame took place in the 2010s with spots on NBC and Comedy Central and as a stand-up comedian. She would soon end up on all sorts of networks, with a Netflix special even starring her. The bad news for Amy, though, is that her ability to pitch shows to massive TV networks was a lot better than her actual sense of humor. And many viewers quickly began to get tired of seeing Amy on the air. The only thing remotely funny about her is her failed career as a comedian, one commenter said of Amy's comedy routine, and there are many others who have taken to disliking her work. While being unfunny is bad for a comedian, Amy took things a step further to really deserve being on this list. Allegations from 3 female comedians came out that Amy had stolen jokes from them. And as this soon gathered steam, people on the internet found other examples of joke stealing from the star actress, including taking material from Ellen DeGeneres and John Mulaney. Oh, and if that wasn't bad enough, the joke Amy stole from Ellen DeGeneres was one she retold on the Ellen DeGeneres show to her face.
I'm very old school. I think the guy should always pay on the first date for sex.
Not unlike this gag from Wendy Liebman's stand-up routine 20 years ago.
Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I like it when the guy pays for sex. I mean that.
James Corden. James Corden is known for 2 things: bad movies and bad attitude. Just ask Patrick Stewart, who was confronted by James during a public reception after the Glamour Awards.
When the presenters are up here and when the recipients are receiving their awards, don't stand at the back of the stage with your hands in your pockets, looking around as though you wished you were anywhere but here.
Oh, you couldn't be more wrong, sir. You couldn't be more wrong. Oh, genuinely. And if it looked like that, I'm so sorry. But when you come up and present an award, just get on with it. There we go.
If your most remembered film role is Cats, one of the biggest flops in modern cinema history, then you know you've got a problem with landing good acting roles. His position as the head of The Late Late Show gives the comedian actor a prominent spot in the public eye, but there are many who see this as a bad thing instead of good. He's not funny, one commenter mentioned, but he is part of a clique that allows him to get big jobs. When a comedy show host is being called unfunny or bland by a large number of viewers, that's typically a sign that something is very off. Even worse, however, is what James is doing when the cameras aren't rolling. There have been many anecdotes about James acting like a heel in public, with some of them even derailing his failed Reddit AMA several years ago. But the biggest by far was the Balthazar scandal. The story began when the owner of the Balthazar restaurant banned James from attending, claiming that he'd been incredibly rude to waitstaff, threatening and even berating them when they made the slightest mistakes in preparing the food. All of this would blow up in James's face when the public backlash led to calls for him to step down from The Late Late Show, and he would issue a public apology as well as announce plans to retire as show host. In the end, James was allowed back into the Balthazar, but it will be a while before he gets back into the public's good graces. Alec Baldwin.
I was told you need to verify, I think this is an important note. They take the gun, they enter the, and all the rounds that are in there were either dummy rounds, no flash, cold rounds, or rounds with a flash. In the rehearsal, there should have been nothing. It should have been a cold gun with no rounds inside or dummy rounds.
You never want to wake up with your name and shooting in the same headline. But that's exactly what happened for Alec Baldwin. The actor rose to fame in the 1980s and is known today for his roles in The Boss Baby, Madagascar, and guest performances on SNL portraying DJT. What Alec is most known for today, however, is an incident that took place in 2021. On the set of the film Rust, Alec fired a revolver as part of a rehearsal for a gunfight. The bad news was that the revolver was actually loaded, and Alec's practice shot ended up sending one person to the hospital and another person to the cemetery. Although this was an accident, it had a profoundly negative impact on the actor's career. He spent the next 2 years facing litigation, with the potential for life-altering criminal charges. However, things wouldn't end up in the worst-case scenario for Alec. After being criminally charged with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter in 2023, Alec spent months in court battles, which ended in April of that same year. It was at this time that the court and Alec came to an agreement, with the charges being dropped in return for a hefty settlement to the families of the victims. Although Alec walked away without any jail time, he remains profoundly unpopular for this scandalous incident. The basic rules of firearm safety are to assume that every gun is loaded and to always check your firearm, one commenter with firearm experience noted. Alec failed at this basic safety, and his negligence resulted in a woman's demise. Adam Sandler. Make sure you subscribe for more juicy actor top 10 lists. Pro tip for any future actors, don't take every movie role that comes along, especially if you don't believe in the movies themselves. This was something Adam Sandler wouldn't do, and over time, it damaged his popularity with the public. On top of most of his roles being comedic and unserious, Adam also took part in a large number of shoddy and subpar movies. His current movies just seem like he does it for the money and doesn't care about the quality of the film, one commenter remarked, and quite frankly, it's very apparent. Adam might not be in any serious trouble, but putting money first has made many dislike seeing the actor in any new films. One heckler pointed this out to Adam's face, and the actor responded by slapping him in the face. Do you think that was justified?
So why don't you tell us about fucking Adam Sandler? Did that really happen?
Yeah, so I was in the streets today, and man, that was fucking weird. I was like, this is gonna be what do you do for a living heaven. But I honestly felt the energy before I even got like 5 feet close to him. And I was like, Adam, what do you do for a living? He just kind of gave me a look, and I asked him again, like, what do you do for a living?
And he smacked you,
out of my hand. He was like really pissed. Like, what are you doing? Putting a phone in my face? I'm like, Adam, I'm sorry. I'm a huge fan. I just like, this is what I do for a living. And he literally went to me like it was this Adam Sandler movie, like this. He gave me a knuckle sandwich and walked away, I swear.
Really?
Amber Heard. Amber Heard isn't the first actress to ruin her reputation in a courtroom, but the circumstances are quite unique. Instead of facing criminal charges, she was accusing someone else. Amber's litigation against her ex-husband Johnny Depp resulted in both parties being charged with defamation, which came with fines and required payments as well as the bad PR. The bigger damage, however, came from the ridiculous shenanigans that took place during the trial, including Amber Heard's lawyer trying to argue with a witness on the stand.
I'm not seeking any 15 minutes here, though you're welcome to speculate. I could say the same thing by taking Amber Heard as a client for you.
A little argumentative, don't you think?
Oh, hardly. I find that to be purely logical.
On top of that, damaging information about Amber and Johnny's toxic relationship made the two look bad in the media, but especially Amber. She became widely unpopular when one anecdote was leaked to the press, claiming that because of the court case, an incident was revealed where the actress escalated an argument with her ex-husband to the point that she defecated in their bed. This glaring red flag, or perhaps brown flag in this case, is just one of many stories that left Amber publicly unpopular and resulted in her and Johnny divorcing in May of 2016. Bill Cosby. This one should come as no surprise, but Bill Cosby has earned a reputation as one of the most immoral celebrity actors in America as of today. Although he was once extremely well-liked for his performance on The Cosby Show, the actor's public image took a nosedive when scandals and allegations of sexual misconduct came out after Hannibal Buress, a stand-up comedian, publicly made jokes about Bill Cosby's actions in the past.
Has the fucking smuggest old black man public persona that I hate. This kid's on TV. Pull your pants up, black people. I was on TV in the 80s.
The number of women accusing Bill quickly skyrocketed, and it became clear that this was something of a pattern for the celebrity. This ended in 2018 with Bill being convicted for aggravated indecent assault due to actions that were, shall we say, definitely not family-friendly. His shows were pulled from TV networks, and many public figures made statements against the man who was once considered America's dad. Although there are many hated actors in this world, few have fallen as far as Bill Cosby. If there's any consolation for him, it might be that due to some legal shenanigans, he was released from prison in June of 2021. Legal issues notwithstanding, the celebrity can at least enjoy his freedom, if not his former popularity. Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey was once a TV icon, starring in House of Cards as the crooked politician Frank Underwood, who was family-friendly by day and downright immoral by night. Although most people thought Frank was just a character being played by Kevin, perhaps there was more to the act than meets the eye. After all, the actor would be buried by controversy after sexual assault allegations came out from multiple people in 2017 and onward. This was bad for Kevin, not just because he faced criminal charges, but also because it meant his acting career was done. Just like the character of Frank Underwood, Kevin Spacey had no choice but to retire from acting and find something else to occupy his time. This ended up being making YouTube videos with cryptic messages, which became even more sinister when several people accusing Kevin perished in tragic accidents. Might there be something more going on here? On top of that, one of the key trials against Kevin ended with him being found innocent due to a combination of missing evidence and outbursts like the key witness's father almost being held in contempt by the court.
If you don't understand my question, just ask me and I'll repeat it. Okay?
I think you've had way too many questions that have gone way
Sir,
too
listen
far.
to me. You keep this up, I'm going to hold you in contempt. This is a criminal proceeding, and you will cooperate, or as I say, you'll be held in contempt.
I understand.
I appreciate that. Go ahead.
Will Kevin continue to avoid criminal charges, or might his luck be about to run out? Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf is well known for his Do It video, on top of acting in the Transformers series and hosting SNL in 2007. However, the actor garnered quite a bit of controversy over the years for a variety of things. For one, several accusations of plagiarizing movie scripts led to public backlash before Shia backtracked and issued an apology on social media. There was also the case where he was accused by an ex-girlfriend of being emotionally abusive, which resulted in litigation, which, as of 2023, is still ongoing. Some might also remember Shia, though, for his strange performance art, including the "He Will Not Divide Us" piece. The actor stood outside in a public space chanting those words over and over, leading to confrontations with citizens who came to gawk or counter-protest, as well as making some people uncomfortable or just confused. None of this was good for Shia's popularity, and he got a bit of a reputation for eccentricity and flying off the handle at times. Since the "He Will Not Divide Us" piece ended in 2021, the actor has made some serious life changes, including converting to Catholicism. It seems like Shia is determined to turn over a new leaf and leave the controversies that plagued him to the past for good. Armie Hammer. Once upon a time, Armie Hammer was a Hollywood big shot, portraying identical twins with some CGI magic in The Social Network and getting some Pixar action by voicing the main villain of Cars 3. Behind the scenes, Armie was pretty weird though, even by Hollywood standards. At first, it was strange behavior on social media, like posting a video with a woman in lingerie to his Instagram account. But things would soon escalate. Allegations of sexual abuse came out in January of 2021, and a series of texts came out not long after where the actor claimed he wanted to have a lady friend for dinner, Hannibal Lecter style. Obviously, this destroyed the guy's career, with things getting so bad he lost all his movie roles and even his publicist decided to quit. On the bright side for Armie, he's avoided prison or criminal charges for the explicit content of his text messages to other women, at least so far. Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. It's hard to believe an actress went from starring on TV shows such as Suits to becoming a member of the UK royal family. But Meghan Markle did exactly that after marrying Prince Harry in 2018. This resulted in a huge career shift, but it also meant a lot more media scrutiny than she'd ever received while being an actress. Her differences from the rest of the British royal family led to tensions over tradition and her racial heritage, and turned Meghan into a polarizing figure. Though Meghan openly talked about her difficulties and is even making a documentary about them, some people such as Chris Rock have pointed out that those difficulties are hardly new.
Like, what's this girl, Meghan Markle? Just complaining. I was like, didn't she hit the light-skin lottery? Acting all dumb like she don't know nothing. I had no idea how racist they were. It's the royal family. They're the original racists. Some of that shit she went through was not racism. They wanted to know how brown the baby was gonna be. I'm like, that's not racist. Because even black people want to know how brown the baby gonna be. Shit.
On top of that, her willingness to openly share political beliefs upset many people who believed UK royalty should remain above the fray of politics. Meghan decided to step away from her royal duties in January of 2020 because of all this, and has been keeping a much lower profile ever since. People have called her a hypocrite for such instances, such as talking about the environment while flying around the globe in private jets, and attacking the royals while gaining fame and wealth from them. She's also been reported as a privileged person who plays the victim, and there are reports of her bullying the royal household staff when she used to live there. Click here to see 13 actors who have terrible lives in 2023. See you there.